Welcome to First Mover, your first global look at today's action in the Bitcoin, blockchain, and digital asset space. I'm your host, Christine Lee. Joining me is my co-host, CoinDesk Managing Editor of Global Capital Markets, Lawrence Luton. Good morning, Lawrence.
Hey, good morning, Christine. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Let's have a live look at Bitcoin right now. The CoinDesk Bitcoin price XVX index is currently at 38,868. Bitcoin's trading pretty flat over the past 24 hours, just up about 9 basis points. And the CoinDesk Ether price ETX index is at 25.49. ETH is sliding back about 0.9%. And the DFX CoinDesk DeFi index is at 220, also sliding about 1.6% over the past 24 hours. The most reliable reference prices for institutions since 2014 are now published under the CoinDesk brand, trusted globally as a leader in crypto news, events, and data. So today, Lawrence, we're awaiting a meeting by the Federal Reserve. They're going to likely talk about a possible rate hike that they will announce tomorrow, 25 basis points. And the markets look, at least in the crypto markets, looking pretty flat.
Yeah, everything's priced in. I mean, we've known this was going to happen for months. I think there was some question when the war started in Ukraine as to whether or not that would persist, because now all of a sudden you had higher gasoline prices and it could create a stagflation situation where you raise rates just as prices are going up, but you're already in a recession, and it could have freaked out the Fed from trying to do it. But it looks like we have oils now below 100 again. Not that it's any discount for the time being; it's still in the 90s. But it's kind of things are okay to go ahead as planned as far as the Fed's concerned. So, be really surprised if we don't get that 25 basis point hike in the Fed funds rate.
Yeah, Fed Chair Jerome Powell has been talking about it for months now. It seems likely. Talking about Russia and Ukraine, there are the leaders of Czech Republic, Poland, and Slovenia that are going into Ukraine to show their support and solidarity. And in the crypto front, a lot of donations coming in. Aid for Ukraine has raised over $48 million in crypto donations to support humanitarian aid programs as well as Ukraine's armed forces. After the Ukrainian government launched the website just yesterday in partnership with crypto exchange FTX, Ukraine's Kuna exchange, and staking platform Everstake. In fact, joining us now is Bogdan Oprishko, Chief Operating Officer at Everstake. Hello there, Bogdan. Thanks for joining us. So I'd love to hear how this came about and how does a staking platform get involved?
Hi. So first of all, thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be here. So everything started more than a week ago. Together with the Solana community and Solana Foundation, we decided to launch DAO on the Solana and started to raise some money in a Solana and into aid for Ukraine. Then we was connected with the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine and FTX and Kuna Exchange to join effort to grab as more money as we can and spread all this info around the world and connect with the National Bank of Ukraine. So just because Everstake, one of the biggest staking platform, we have a lot of connections with the different blockchains. Right now it's more than 55 where we're working on as a validator. So we can connect almost to each blockchains and connect all these blockchains and teams to the website. So right now guys can easily choose a amount and connect a wallet and share donation with aid for Ukraine. So basically, like Everstake is a bridge between crypto and National Bank of Ukraine.
So Bogdan, thank you again for coming on, and especially now. Vice Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov recently has been tweeting out to all these companies that are in some way or another connected to Russia, asking them to stop manufacturing in Russia and the likes. And one of the companies that he's reached out to is Tether. He wants them to stop allowing Russian users from using Tether primarily, or in many cases to potentially launder money. He's asked Tether to put a stop to it. FTX, one of your partners, is obviously they're one of the biggest holders of Tether in the world. They have very good connections. Do you know if the ministry or have you or anybody asked FTX to intervene and to get Tether to do more potentially in stopping Russians from using this to potentially launder money. And do you know if there's been any progress, anything interesting happening along those lines?
Yeah, so it's a very great question, to be honest. It's hard to predict right now because we cannot just connect FTX or ministry and just doing something together because it's could be very hard. So, but on another hand, our minister doing a very great job just to connect with different companies, and it works really. I'm not sure how everything will be in Tether because it's hard to just said that guys don't use it with the Russians guys because it's we cannot just cover all the stuff, unfortunately or fortunately. So we don't have any things right now speaking about connect FTX and discuss exactly this point. But anyway, it's like point to discuss maybe for future needs. So yeah. And as you see on our website. Yeah, sorry.
Are you surprised by the amount of donations have come so quickly, 48 million in hours?
Yeah, it's like just one day, and it was closer to 49 million right now. And we're waiting for 1 million from ICANN Foundation during the today or maybe during like next few days. So right now, here is a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, Polkadot, Solana, Dogecoin, and a few more. We plan to add as much as we can during the few days. So, yeah.
And with the staking platform that you have, are yields going to charity as well? Because that's something people can choose. Like, how does that work?
So right now, all our yields from Solana, for example, we transfer to Aid for Ukraine. The same we plan to do with other chains as well. I'm not sure exactly which one will be the next one because we have to cover some of our infrastructure needs. But anyway, we cannot stay aside. We cannot be like warriors with a weapon because it's not our main duty. But we can help in another way. Another way for us is just grab to donation from the like all over the world and help military or our military or help guys on the ground.
And how does the money get spent? So from what I understand, you're the bridge between Ukraine's central bank and so the donations get routed to Ukraine's central bank. And then who spends the money and decides where it goes? And how quickly can it get to the hands of people who need it in Ukraine?
Yeah, so there are two accounts on national banks of Ukraine, like central bank. First of all, it's for humanity needs. Second one is a military account. We already transferred first million from Solana donations to a military directly to the National Bank of Ukraine. So believe me, this money will from the National Bank of Ukraine will go directly and as fast as it can to the guys from the army. The second donation, I guess, we will be doing for the humanity needs because it's also very important because as far as you know, a lot of cities right now without electricity even or like a gas station or something like that. So we're trying to do everything as fast as we can. Also, so National Bank of Ukraine doing the same. Sorry.
No, it's okay. How many employees do you have in Ukraine right now, and how have they been doing? How are you been doing? What's happening in terms of what is their day like? Tell us a little more about what's going on with your employees.
Yeah, so right now Everstake is 96 employees, and 86% of them is Ukrainians. Just because we distributed between Europe and US, some guys already like in Europe, but closer to 10 or 15 guys in Ukraine right now. And some of them doing something that they can. Some of them already in an army. Some of them in like a territory defense that helps to protect cities or helps to protect small villages. Some of them just volunteering. And right now we are decided to leave guys to doing on the ground something. So we don't push them doing something with Everstake. If you could help like on a volunteering stuff, or if you could help on a territory defense, they doing their best in Ukrainian cities right now.
So it seems to be... Yes, please.
And speaking about their daily routine, believe me, it's totally changed because they cannot take a cup of coffee in the morning. They have to go to the territory defense and have some stuff and volunteering.
So as a volunteer, I mean, are they working? Are they also doing things for the company on the side? As I know that trying to get in some currency right now is a key factor, is a very key thing for Ukraine. Are they trying to balance the two, or is it just focused mostly on defense?
Oh, it depends on needs. Some of them working on defense, some of them just help volunteering on the ground. I mean, accepting donation or accepting some stuff from another countries like Poland or like Czech Republic or any other countries around Ukraine, because they have to do something with their hands. Not only money can help Ukraine right now, but also all this like stuff for people, for daily routine, for like some food or water can help also. So that's why they have to volunteer somehow.
In your view, how has crypto changed the game? Or, what's the difference between donating in crypto versus money? Is there a difference at all in terms of efficiency, in terms of how fast can things, get together?
Yeah. So first point, and I think the most important is the fastest way. Just sending transactions. That's all. And National Bank of Ukraine right now realized that it's really fast. Second point, that everything could be spread down like on a Twitter faster than any other social media that using any other Ukrainian government or any other stuff. So first point, very fast. Second point, it could be very like a mass adoption, speaking about donation, because as far as you know, only a few days and we already have $49 million. So, yeah.
Yeah, this obviously is a big change from everything that was even just 2 months ago, for instance. What, after the piece is done and hopefully things are returning to normal, what do you think what changes in your outlook towards crypto, and what do you want to do once the pieces arrive?
So right now we have a strong connection with the ministry and with the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine. So it's the best point after everything, after all the stuff, to have a good connection with them as well, because they understand that the crypto is a powerful instrument to do something like not only with the donation but also with any other stuff. So I guess in like next couple of months, when everything will be okay, it will be easier for us or FTX or Everstake or any other platform, like crypto platform, I guess, to connect any ministry, not only in Ukraine, but in any other country in Europe.
All right. And Bogdan, I understand you're Ukrainian, right?
Yeah, I'm Ukrainian.
Well, I'm sure, I hope you are well. I hope your family is well, and I hope your colleagues get through this very difficult time. And what you've achieved in such a short amount of time is incredible. So thank you so much, Bogdan, for coming on the show with us.
I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Right. That was Everstake COO Bogdan Oprishko. Coming up, crypto markets update with quantitative trading firm Dexterity Capital. Hi, I'm Christine Lee.
Zach Seward.
I'm Michael Casey.
I'm Christy Harkin.
I'm Isaiah Jackson.
I'm Serena Lynn.
Hey, this is Will Foxley.
I'm Teresa Santos.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Lewitton.
Hi, I'm Dorian Wayne.
I'm Nicholas Day.
Hi, I'm Kevin Worth.
I'm Jordan Muthra.
Hi, I'm Brad Cow.
I'm Pete Paschal.
Hi, I'm Jen Sanasi. You're watching. And you're watching.
And you're watching CoinDesk TV.
Checking in on Bitcoin, the CoinDesk Bitcoin price XVX index is at $38,889. Bitcoin is up slightly, about 0.1%. The CoinDesk Ether price ETX index is at 2547, down about just over 1%. The DFX CoinDesk DeFi index is at 220, also sliding back about 1.6% over the past 24 hours. The Crypto Markets Update is brought to you by KuCoin, the best place to find the next crypto gem.
It's fairly soft across the board, but joining us now to discuss the crypto markets is Michael Safai. He is managing partner at quantitative trading firm Dexterity Capital. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks so much for having me back.
Thank you for coming back. So this has been kind of a flatlining market over the past few days. What's that about? I mean, there's so much going on in the world right now. We have oil prices are still fairly high. We have inflation coming up. Why are things just not that exciting in the crypto markets?
Yeah, you're right. Things have been a bit quiet lately, and there's a lot of good reasons for it. There's a lot of macro events that are happening right now. We really saw volumes drop off starting on Saturday, and this seems to line pretty well with the Shenzhen lockdown. As we all know, Asian traders drive a lot of crypto market activity. So we expect that a lot of people are kind of saying, well, maybe we should take a wait and see approach, see how things shake out with all these major events happening globally.
Yeah, you know, to your point, I mean, this is if we were to look at volumes and prices in Bitcoin, for instance, over the past year, it seems to correlate not with Federal Reserve moves so much as it's connected to the Chinese government's actions in crypto. Do you think going forward we're going to continue to see that? Do you think it still remains an Asia play?
Well, I think, you know, as you said at the top of the hour, the Fed markets rate isn't something that crypto really responds to because they usually price it in at the beginning. We've known this hike was coming for a long time now. And crypto traders are smart. They get it. You know, we had a meeting not so long ago. And again, nothing really happened. There was a slight dip and a quick recovery, and that was about it, which is great for volatility traders. But for the rest of us, didn't matter too much. I don't think it's just an Asian play, as it were. I mean, we've seen all these other macro events happen throughout Europe and with the oil markets, and that has had an impact. But I think the Shenzhen one was just a bit closer to home than usual, maybe.
Michael, the Federal Reserve is meeting today. They're going to make an announcement tomorrow on a possible or likely rate hike. I wonder, what will you be watching for?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a lot of changes in the crypto markets then. As I said last time, there was a bit of a dip, but it came right back. And if you trade volatility, you're going to do well. But for most of us, it'll probably be a blip.
And the outlook?
I was just going to ask.
Okay.
We're in a bit of a delay, so of course we have sometimes we trip here. What about the alts? I mean, we have of course, it's not just Bitcoin, it's not just ETH. We have plenty of alts that are in play, and those seem to suffer the same fate, at least for the time being, with low volumes. Do you think that changes as well?
Well, one thing we have seen on the OTC desks is a lot of the big traders have been kind of pivoting away from alts this week and back into the majors like Bitcoin. And I don't think this means that, you know, alts are in trouble. It just means people are in this wait and see, kind of play it safe mentality. That being said, one I'll call out is Luna, which has really outperformed. And I think that's specific to what they're doing. They're getting a lot of adoption of their stablecoin, and they just have a great yield product on Anchor Earn.
Is it, to that point about Anchor, I mean, is it sustainable? You know, we've seen some influx of capital to kind of keep things afloat, but do you think that over the long term, having Anchor provide 20% guaranteed returns, do you think that that's something that can stay on, or do you think that there is a potential problem down the road for Terra Luna?
Well, I think for most of these layer one protocols, their game plan is to get adoption of users and of the best developers. And that's what Luna's really investing in a lot right now, is getting that really good core nucleus of developers and a wide user base. So I think, you know, are those returns going to last forever on Anchor? Not for me to say. But as long as Luna does a good job and continues to create adoption of their products, I think they have a good outlook long term.
Michael, just taking a look at Bitcoin again, what's your short-term price outlook?
Well, you know, the indicators we're looking at, you know, one thing we see, liquidations really haven't spiked this past week. And again, that kind of goes with the narratives that maybe the whales are just kind of waiting and see and taking it easy. When we look at the funding rates on perpetual swaps, they are slightly bearish, but nothing dramatic. And one thing we have seen again on the OTC desks is that a number of traders are taking derivatives positions to hedge against downward action through April. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to see a serious price change, but it does mean there's a lot of bearish sentiment out there, at least for the next month or two.
All right, great. Michael, thank you so much for your analysis.
Thanks for your time.
That was Dexterity Capital Managing Partner Michael Safai. Coming up, checking in with CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day and the latest $200 million raise from NFT scaling platform Immutable.
The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
NFT scaling platform Immutable raising $200 million in a Series C funding round led by Singapore state investment fund Temasek at a $2.5 billion valuation. The funds will be used toward global expansion, including boosting Immutable gaming studio and mergers and acquisitions activity. Joining us now is Robbie Ferguson, co-founder and president of Immutable. Hello there, Robbie. Thanks for joining us. So 6 times a valuation.
Thanks for having me.
Since the fall. How is that possible, and what is that based on?
Yeah, well, we've done a whole ton of progress since the fall. So first off, Immutable X, our scaling protocol for NFTs, had barely launched then, and now we have hundreds of customers testing on it. We have, of the 10 most important games on the blockchain right now, the majority of them building on Immutable X, everyone from Illuvium to Embersword to games like High Rise, Gods Unchained and Guild of Guardians, and of course GameStop building an NFT marketplace. So we've launched in conjunction with the foundations 3 tokens, one for Immutable, one for Guild of Guardians, and one for Gods Unchained. And we've also scaled our company to around 200 employees. So we've made a ton of traction.
Yeah, so Robbie, congratulations, of course. But what does this expansion entail? You know, you're doubling your workforce. What are they going to be doing? Why do you need all these extra workers?
Yeah, so Immutable is unique in that we have both the Studio and the Immutable platform. So we have content on this side, so Gods Unchained and Guild of Guardians. We just brought on board Justin Hulo, who is the general manager of Riot, to come lead this as our chief studio officer. And that's a fairly resource-intensive unit. Building games is hard. It's like building a movie. You need lots of stuff. And that actually provides a really unique opportunity for us to help customers actually build the best possible games, because a lot of Web 2 games are coming into this industry and they're looking for advice on how they actually build their product. Not just, hey, how can I scale my NFTs, but also how can I make sure my go-to-market is successful? And then, of course, Immutable X, the platform side of the business, which is what we have majority of the resources that this going toward, will be scaling in terms of product, engineering, and go-to-market. And go-to-market, we want to have the most, a team that can help people from any time zone in the world, that can onboard hundreds of companies at one time, and also social media company like TikTok, who we powered. So that's
I think our connection is a little, okay, you're still there. For those who don't know what Immutable is, perhaps you can explain, you know, what makes this NFT games different from regular games, and are people building on top of your platform and building games that they would like as well, and the NFTs kind of exist in this whole metaverse ecosystem? Please explain.
Absolutely, and I hope I'm still with you in terms of internet. I'm just on some shoddy hotel internet. Immutable X is a scaling and liquidity platform for NFTs built on top of Ethereum. And the really important things to us is that it completely inherits Ethereum's security. It's scalable to more than 10,000 transactions per second, and it's completely carbon neutral. So when you look at alternative layer 1 blockchains or side chains and them going down for 12 hours a day, the really important thing about what we've built is at any point in time, even if Immutable goes away, you can always withdraw your NFTs back to layer 1 Ethereum. And that's what allows them to exist with the same premium as Ethereum assets does. And ultimately, we have a lot of conviction in Ethereum. I think it's going to be the most successful layer 1 blockchain. But even if it's not, whatever is successful, it will be roll-ups on that L1. A modular scaling thesis is the only scaling thesis that will stay true in the future.
So, Robbie, you have companies like GameStop, for instance, as one of your partners here using your service. So explain how a GameStop would use you guys.
So GameStop is building an NFT marketplace similar to OpenSea, looks rare, and they're trying in particular on gaming content, their audience. Right now they have a fan base of millions of followers who are raving fans of GameStop and its culture, and they've been at the center of this kind of cultural zeitgeist of people wanting to reclaim power from, you know, bank or centralized financial authorities. And those people are all ready to be empowered financially when it comes to gaming and true digital ownership. So we're really excited about GameStop because every single marketplace we bring on board the Immutable X protocol is additional demand and eyeballs for every NFT on Immutable X. And that's because of our open order book, which operates effectively as the back end to NFT marketplaces that we power.
And regionally, do you have a sense of who are your users? Where in the world is this really picking up traction?
So our users are according to our most popular games and customers, as we're obviously B2B. So we see a lot of users currently in the United States from games like Illuvium, from games like Ember Sword or Planet Quest and Gods Unchained. We also see a big uptake in the Philippines and in Asian regions as well, where you traditionally have a huge gaming demographic. Obviously, 16% of people in the Philippines own an NFT. So that's where our demographics are currently. I expect it to conform pretty closely to gaming demographics as we expand over the next year.
So what kind of non-gaming applications are you building out, if you are building out at all, or are you just focusing primarily on gaming for now?
Gaming is our focus, but we're open to everything. And Immutable X is completely permissionless to use. So the other ones we're really excited about are, how can we take the most important Web2 companies, especially in things like the social media space, like TikTok, where we've had their first ever NFTs, and reinvent them with Web3 tokenomics that actually give end users more power. So we'll have something exciting to share on this on the art front pretty soon. Over the next few months, we are also going to be looking closely at digital entertainment and culture and live social media companies. And eventually, over the next year, we'll expand into new verticals such as finance, such as IP and centralized registry products. NFTs are going to tokenize the world, and we intend to provide liquidity as they do that.
Incredible. And I see that Immutable plans to add 200 employees over the next 12 months, and you already have a 165-person team, so you'll be doubling that and then some. Robbie, congratulations on your raise. Very fascinating NFT gaming platform you have. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
That was Immutable co-founder and president Robbie Ferguson. All right, time now to check in with CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor, Nick Day, who's also the editor of CoinDesk's The State of Crypto newsletter. Good morning, Nick. So the Fed is meeting today and tomorrow, and there's also a House Financial Services Committee meeting on Thursday. What's going on?
Good morning. So yeah, the House Financial Services Committee is going to be discussing central bank digital currencies on Thursday this week. We don't yet have a witness list or hearing memo, so unclear, what specifically we might be looking to hear about or see. But this committee's received a lot of praise over the last two major crypto-related hearings it's held. So it should be a productive conversation. I think one of the key questions is going to be whether the U.S. should authorize a CBDC, which is something that the Federal Reserve has said it's unwilling to do short of congressional action, authorizing this. So whether, how this debate might shape out, I think is going to be a key question. And, even last week, we saw the president's executive order mention that issue. So lots to discuss there. As far as the Fed goes, I imagine all of their plans from the beginning of the year are probably thrown in disarray right now, given the whole situation in Ukraine. But they are meeting over the next 2 days, and I think people are expecting some sort of a rate hike.
So turning to Europe, what exactly is going on with the EC, with the European Parliament there, and some of their proposed regulations with proof of work mining?
Proof of work?
So the key news here is, our colleague Sundali Handagama reported that a provision that would limit proof of work consensus mechanisms, or otherwise find a way to outlaw them, seems to have been struck from the bill. It is not a concern at this point. It was a close vote, 32-24, but so far, what does seem to have happened is Europe was proceeding to adopt its markets and crypto assets legislation, otherwise known as MiCA, and basically create a pretty comprehensive framework for regulation around digital assets, across the European Union. We have details to come, but the key thing is Europe is not going to try and ban Bitcoin or other proof of work cryptocurrencies. It's also not going to try and force, any specific kind of energy policy, but the concerns are pretty real, given that Europe is probably getting close to facing some sort of an energy crisis, given that a lot of its oil comes from Russia, which is currently getting sanctioned. So I think that's kind of where we might have to look for the impetus for that kind of legislation. And I imagine a lot of the concern around this is whether or not Bitcoin is valuable enough to be using oil and gas on. So this is where things like alternative energy sources might be more useful for the Bitcoin community.
All right, Nick, thanks so much for joining us. That was CoinDesk Managing Editor of Global Policy and Regulation, Nick Day. Don't forget to sign up for the State of Crypto newsletter on CoinDesk.com. Also, the Federal Reserve will make their rate hike announcement tomorrow at 2 p.m. and CoinDesk TV will live stream Fed Chair Jerome Powell's news conference at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Time now to check in with Crypto Twitter for our tweet of the day. And this, of course, from Elon Musk, Techno King of Tesla, real title, by the way. I hereby challenge Vladimir Putin to single combat. Stakes are Ukraine. Very interesting. He actually got a response from Russia's space chief, and he responded with a meme of Putin on a bear and Elon wielding, I don't know what that is, a fire gun, or I don't know what you call that. But they also exchanged some literature. Who would you choose, Lawrence?
No one. I honestly, look, Putin seems like he could probably take him in a fight. But this is, if it had been any other time in history, the world's richest guy fighting with the leading army in one of the largest armies in the world and taking him on in a fight, this would be massive news. Instead, everyone's just like, Elon might be high.
He might be smoking a joint.
Yeah.
But they also say Putin
here.
is the richest guy in the world. But I would say one is trying to break civilization and one is trying to make it multi-planetary. So I'd say he's more valuable than that. All right. That's it for First Mover. Thank you, Lawrence. I'm your host, Christine Lee. Meantime, check out the hash at noon Eastern, all about Bitcoin at 3 o'clock. You're watching CoinDesk TV. Next up, stay tuned for the daily forecast to see what's happening in the Asia crypto markets.
Global markets are sliding, but Bitcoin is holding its ground for the moment. So why is it bucking the trend? Welcome to the Daily Forecast, March 15th, 2022. I'm Angie Lau, Editor-in-Chief of Forecast, covering all things blockchain. Well, markets in general have been a sea of red since the conflict in Ukraine began, but while that volatility initially hit Bitcoin, its price has been pretty stable for the past week. We're going to take a look at why that might be, plus a whole lot more coming up. Let's get you up to speed from Asia to the world.
Join thousands of NFT traders who already start their day on CryptoSlam.
Well, could there be a new crypto hub emerging? It's big news and a major announcement in the crypto industry. The world's largest crypto exchange, Binance, has been granted a license to operate in Bahrain. After tweeting the news, Binance CEO and founder Changpeng Zhao, or CZ, said the license is a milestone in the company's journey to being licensed and regulated around the world. Binance is now allowed to offer crypto trading, custodial, and portfolio management services in the oil-rich kingdom. It's something that Binance had hoped to seek in Singapore, but the firm withdrew its application to the Monetary Authority of Singapore to operate a regulated crypto exchange in that country last December. Meanwhile, in Singapore, financial measures from the country's central bank targeting designated Russian banks, entities, and activities in Russia are now in place. The move is in line with the growing sanctions against Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. Now, the Monetary Authority of Singapore's notice says that the measures apply to all financial institutions in Singapore, including banks, finance companies, insurers, among others. It added that digital payment token service providers are prohibited from facilitating transactions that could aid the circumvention of the financial measures. You can find those stories and a whole lot more at forecast.news. All right, over to the markets now. Bitcoin has been trading roughly flat over the past few days, while equity markets have continued to fall. But could we be in for more volatility ahead with China imposing citywide COVID lockdowns and no sign of a resolution to the war in Ukraine? Forecast's Carolyn Wright takes a look at the key factors driving the market action.
After peaking close to $42,500 US last week, Bitcoin has been trading around the $39,000 mark since. One expert told Forecast there are two reasons why it's been holding its own while wider markets have sunk. One is that explanations for a 25 basis point rate hike from this week's Fed meeting are already priced in.
But I think for the better part, we're starting to see some safe haven flows into Bitcoin and out of crude, out of gold, and they have been where a lot of money's been stored, and now I think people are looking, well, where can we actually put some money at an asset class which is more fairly priced?
Sycamore says that Bitcoin is trading in a bearish consolidation pattern and that it would have to push above the $46,000 US mark to really make an upwards move out of the range, rather than risk a break of support around the $33,000 mark. And for the markets overall at the moment, he's keeping a close watch on the situation in Ukraine.
I don't think the peace talks are going to amount to anything. In fact, more significant is the developments overnight, which we now know that Russia has asked China for military aid, and that to me signifies that we have a bigger problem potentially festering.
Denials have since been made about requests for military aid, but Andrew Sullivan of Asian Market Sense told Forecast that if we see the US placing sanctions on China as a result, that could hurt the country's economy.
Certainly if it goes for sanctions on the banking system, that could put China under an awful lot more pressure than we've seen to date. And obviously, it has tried, like Russia has, to make sure that it's kind of given itself a barrier by building up these foreign reserves. But if you can freeze those foreign reserves, then that's very difficult to get round.
Sullivan says China's economy is already in for a rough road ahead, with millions being locked down because of an upsurge in COVID cases, alongside an increase in unemployment figures shown in today's economic data. Sullivan agrees that investors are also hoping for more clarity on the situation in Ukraine, and that could provoke a significant knee-jerk reaction in markets. In the meantime, he says President Biden's executive order requiring the US government to study cryptocurrencies has increased confidence in Bitcoin as a safe haven.
Because of that paper and its acceptance by more and more institutions, and now by the US government effectively, which would be the ultimate institution to have it being recognised by, I think is giving investors a lot more confidence in holding Bitcoin than maybe even other assets.
For Forecast, I'm Carolyn Wright in Hong Kong.
Moving on from Bitcoin to a look at how altcoins could be set to shape the future of the crypto world. With Bitcoin's dominance fading from 70% at the beginning of 2021 to just over 40% now, that's a clear sign that altcoins are gaining ground on the OG of the cryptocurrency world. Forecast's Monica Ghosh takes a look at which of them could take center stage this year.
While there is no imminent threat that Bitcoin will be toppled as market leader, altcoins are seeing a bright future as the crypto industry matures. Some analysts even speculate that Ethereum, which currently has an 18.1% share of the total cryptocurrency market capitalization, may eventually displace Bitcoin for the top spot, an event that is referred to as the flippening. While some crypto investors are confident that investing in altcoins will yield huge profits in the future. Aside from Ethereum, analysts have highlighted Terra, Avalanche, Cosmos, Phantom, and CHZ as among the most interesting Bitcoin alternatives. Global block analyst Marcus Sotiro said that Terra's Luna coin's growth in the last 6 months has been monumental. Terra currently ranks behind Ethereum in terms of total value locked, or TVL. Meanwhile, Voyager Digital CEO and co-founder Steve Ulrich described Avalanche as a cheaper alternative to Ethereum, with an emphasis on ease of use and reliability. Cosmos, on the other hand, has been praised by some analysts for its growth potential in supporting an ecosystem of blockchains capable of interoperating and scaling with each other. Another altcoin to watch out for is Phantom. Phantom's token rose from 1.7 US cents to close the year at $2.25 US. However, its outlook has taken a knock after news that developers Anton Nell and Andre Cronje plan to exit from the project. And finally, CHZ, a token linked to the marketing platform Socios.com, is gaining popularity amid wider uptake by sporting franchises. The Socios platform has partnered with more than 120 major sports organizations, including the US National Football League, the NBA, and the European Football Association. With so many promising altcoin options, are investors ready to take on these riskier assets? Well, with uncertainty weighing on global markets, analysts caution that appetite is down for the moment. For Forecast, I'm Monica Ghosh.
I guess that's why they call them altcoins. And that's the daily forecast from our vantage point right here in Asia. For more, visit forecast.news. I'm Editor-in-Chief Angie Lau. Until the next time.